Okay, they're overly attentive. They call, text, and email constantly. We're not talking about teenagers now. We're talking about adults, right?
Well, teenagers do it too, but yes.
But they do it as a matter of habit as opposed to being, well, I said schizophrenic, but it's not sociopathic. But they do it. I mean, if you're an adult with good mental health, you probably are not going to do that on a continuum.
Sociopaths do.
Okay.
I mean, sociopaths typically will call someone like 30 times a day. I mean, it's really overkill. And that's one of the big red flags that someone is a sociopath, is that they constantly are trying to be in communication with you. And a lot of people misinterpret that and think that the person is smitten and that they're demonstrating their love. Mm-hmm. But actually what they're demonstrating is that they want to control you.
Okay, overly attentive. Okay, we talked about that. They resent the time you spend with your family and friends. I understand that.
Yes,
you know.
Yes.
Now, here's the kicker. Now, this one is really where I would say, yeah, you know, with my background, with my studies, I think I mentioned to you that I have my degree in behavioral psychology. Mm-hmm. And so, but I'm not a psychologist, because in the state of Florida, you have to be a practicing psychologist to be called a psychologist. I did not choose to do that. All right, number 4, Jekyll and Hyde personality. Now, this one is really recognizable. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you that I have recognized that in a person that I knew. However, the person in that case, and you say they have to have all of them, this was a personality trait that was recognizable, but the woman was schizophrenic. So don't just say because somebody's schizophrenic, they're a sociopath, right? So don't confuse them. A lot of times people, oh, if that's what it is, that's how they are, right? But we're not saying that.
No. Okay. But a Jekyll and Hyde personality is essentially just what it sounds like. I've had a lot of cases where people will tell me, he's telling me how much he loves me, and then a minute later he's telling me he hates me and he's screaming at me.
Exactly.
And it's like flicking a switch. But then what's really weird is that they go back. In other words, they can have this raging screaming match.
Oh, yeah.
And, yell and scream. And then, of course, the other person who's getting screamed at is upset.
Right.
And then 5 minutes later, the guy is like, nothing happened.
Right. And they're doing this for purpose, to control.
Yes.
That is a highly leveraged control method. So if I say, I love you, and then say, I hate you, I don't like you anymore, the person wants to do something to be loved again. So in a large part, it's like brainwashing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So if you've got a Jekyll and Hyde personality, that to me is a key item in this sociopathic tendency that people may have. Blame, this one too. Donna, you are right on. I want you to explain. Blame others. Nothing is ever their fault. They always have an excuse. Someone else causes their problems. Please, preach to the choir about that one.
This is actually the biggest sign that we're seeing, because we're doing a survey of our own readers, is what they've experienced, and blaming others is coming out to be one of the top things that they see in sociopathic relationships. Excuses
satisfy only those making them. And I've got that in my book, and I read this when we talked. We did a pre-interview, and I thought this lady has really done a fine job in identifying this, especially if you're in the field. If you were there dating, this is the book for you. This is where you need to go, because if someone has all these traits, you need to understand and identify that this is what's happening. It's not you. And too often, a woman will blame herself.
That happens all the time.
Exactly.
Because actually, the sociopaths do that on purpose.
Of course.
They actually try to make the woman or the male feel, whoever is the supposedly healthy person, they try to make them feel on purpose that it's all their fault.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, they absolutely accuse them of being mentally unbalanced.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
They do this, and then not only do they accuse the person, but they tell everybody they know. And this is something that we call the smear campaign,
right?
Is that they go around and tell everybody else that this person has mental issues, this person, there's something wrong with her. But the way they do that is they do it in this concerned voice. I'm really concerned about her because, she really does have a mental issue. I don't know, Donna, you did that pretty well. Did I do that well? All right.
Check this one out, Michael. She did. She knows her work. Look, this is the person that can tell you how it works. I mean, she's really studied these people. She knows. It also can happen in families where people do that to other family members. So the family member ultimately figures that, well, it must be my fault. I'm to blame. You start blaming yourself because you have been manipulated
Right,
on
right.
and on and on, and then identifying yourself as being, in any situation, the fault of what's going on.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Good. I like this. Oh, this is one. You hit it right on the button. You have to read this book. I like it. Dr. Paul endorses this book, and I don't endorse much, and I don't.
Oh, great.
Lies and gaps in the story. You ask questions and answers are vague. They tell stupid lies. They tell outrageous lies. They lie when they make out better telling the truth. Oh, please.
Yes.
Explain that.
We like to say that they lie like they breathe.
Only when their lips are moving?
Something like that, yes, absolutely. And it's just incredible because they are so good at it. And, you know, there's a lot of misinformation going around where people say, you know, if somebody looks away when they're lying, or if they won't look at you, or something along those
Not
lines.
the
You can tell.
sociopath.
No, none of that works for the sociopath. I mean, they're experts at passing polygraph tests, you know, because one of the reason is because they feel so entitled to lie.
Entitled.
They feel entitled, and so they have no stress reaction when they lie. And those tests are meant to pick up a stress reaction. They're meant to pick it up if you're anxious or something like that. So, well, they have no anxiety when they're lying, so they always pass the test.